Every time you get a chance to witness this scene, you feel lucky. Nothing like it.
Man, this is what it's all about. This is what college football is all about. I've said this is the best scene in the country.
I love and appreciate you guys. Understand this. We didn't get here without every single person in this room. We got here together. Let's finish this thing together. Everybody got me? Let's go do this thing.
Welcome back to Whiteout Weekly on one of the worst losing weeks in recent memory. Dave, I gotta ask, how are you coping with the loss in this week so far?
Not too well, Lucci.
I feel you.
That was one of the most demoralizing ways to watch this team fall in recent memory. And it's just heartbreaking. We talked about it all year, and a year as wide open as ever, and you're in control of your own destiny, even after that heartbreaking Kinnick. And in a game where you should have rolled out of bed and covered the spread.
Serious.
You go 9 fucking overtimes.
9
overtimes.
Do you think they're going to run it again?
If they run it again, I will freak out. Here we go. Get Jahan!
This is terrible.
Fuck!
We'll get into the rule, or we won't get into whatever later, but with that many attempts at the goal line, you can't punch it in against fucking Illinois.
The 3 fucking yard line. 3 fucking yard line.
You got Big Ten title, college football playoff aspirations. It's just tough, man. And I won't get into a whole preacher rant. Willard preacher rant. I know you had yours in the Iowa game, but what I can't stand, and it could just be me with the groups that I'm in, you know, as well as anyone, that I love Penn State football more than anything in the world. And there's a lot of Philadelphia-based fans who love Penn State. And anyone knows, Philadelphia fans are very critical of their team.
Yes.
And we have the right and the liberty to be disappointed and want better of a head coach who we're paying gobs of money to get this thing right, who has stated that he wants to get this thing right. And here we are on Twitter, message boards, you know, Betty Sue from class of 79, Joe Schmo from class of 84. Hey, if you're going to criticize them, then, you know, just stop watching them. It's like, no, fuck you, dude.
Yeah, he's worthy of criticism. Like, everyone is worthy of criticism. Like, come on.
Like, if this was Alabama, this is Georgia, SEC country, and they wouldn't settle for mediocrity. Like, yeah, I'm appreciative of going 10-2 and going to the fucking Fiesta Bowl, but I need to see a Penn State national championship before I leave this earth, Luch.
So do I. So do I.
If that happens, I will pass away, and I'll be forever grateful. But dude, that's the expectation. And then you could say the argument, they're just kids. I don't give a shit. These kids are prepping to go to the NFL, and we're paying James Franklin to get this team ready. And he's just had it every year. We're striving to get to be where Ohio State's at, or we're striving to get to the college football playoff. And I have no doubt that he's got relationships. He can get the recruits in here. He's got his OC now. And you put up 10 points against fucking Illinois. I don't care if it was a sleet storm, hail, snow. You got to score more than 10 on Illinois.
On Illinois of all teams. If it was any other team in the Big Ten, it'd be like Rutgers or Maryland or Northwestern. But come on, you got to score more than. God, that was. We're
never going to know what was up with Clifford. But you look on the landscape. You look at. I'll go back to Georgia, right? They have JT Daniels, who's a preseason Heisman favorite. He's out. They throw Stetson Bennett in there, and they still fucking blow out teams by 50. So I like the fact that you hobbled Clifford. You know, I don't know what was wrong. You should have been able to put out Roberson and put up at least 20 points on that Illinois defense. Like, come the fuck on, dude.
And that's what we were saying in the Iowa game when Roberson had to came in, it seemed like he had not been coached once all season, or like had any sort of reps or anything.
It looked like last year in the NFL with all the COVID issues when Denver had to play, what was it, Kendall Hinton? He went in at quarterback.
Yeah, like it was. Yeah,
That's
exactly.
what it was like, dude. Not a D1 backup quarterback. You got to win a game against.
Not only is this kid not only is he a backup quarterback.
Like, oh my god, dude.
Not only is he a backup quarterback, but could be the future. Like he could be a future starter. You have to pay some sort of attention to that guy in freaking practice.
High school quarterback who should be able to go to the next level and get a fucking snap off.
Yeah.
It's just frustrating, dude. It's another year. Yeah, they only got 2 losses, whatever. But it's another year down the drain where you're not going to get to where this team needs to be. And
yeah. So I'm actually dealing with it, going back to the old feeling good handbook here. Old down the dumps, got to get mentally right again before Ohio State.
Oh.
I'm reading Don't Kill Myself books.
You said that the book wasn't yours.
Don't worry about the book. It isn't mine. But I glanced at it.
So we're gonna briefly just run down this fucking clown circus of a fucking 9 overtime game.
I might need a copy of that book first.
Which was the first. You can definitely grab a copy. I got multiple.
All right.
First year that this rule has been implemented.
Yeah. First rule. We were the first ones to test it out. The guinea pigs.
And yeah, I could only imagine the person that made that rule imagined Illinois and Penn State not being able to score a 2-point conversion from the 3-yard line for 5 straight overtimes. Like they were not picturing that at all.
Testing it out to the max. Like, let's see how fucking long this game can go. Like, holy shit, man.
All right. So I'm just going to dive into my notes here on this game. Clifford's injured. He's on one leg. You have to rely on the run in that situation. Noah Cain, 11 rushes with a long of 7, 3.9 yards per carry. Kevon Lee, 7 rushes for 24 yards. And he had a 13-yard gain, but was just stuffed after that. So basically, he had 6 carries for 11 yards after that. John Lovett, 5 carries, 21 yards, but also had an 18-yard gain. So he basically had 4 carries for 3 yards. So the running game just never got going. We praise the pass protection that the Penn State offensive line has given Clifford, but just the run blocking has just been abysmal, absolutely abysmal. And go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say they tried some different rotations too. You mentioned before in a previous app where Miranda was struggling at that center spot, so they did test out or move Scruggs over to the center role and swap Miranda over to guard. But at this point in the season, to be having to experiment with things like that, we mentioned before that they were going to be in spots where they had to run. Everyone knew they had to run, and can they get it done? Just didn't think it was going to be against Illinois, and the reason being because your starting quarterback's hobbled. You should be able to roll out of bed and get 150 yards on the ground against Illinois.
And that comes down to the offensive line just stepping up.
You got to work on it. It's the focus, and it just hasn't come to fruition. And I don't know what it is. Yurcich said I got to get us in some better, more advantageous positions to be able to run the ball. So I don't know if it's play calling, if it's scheme, it's something. But as a powerhouse Big Ten team with college football playoff aspirations and not being able to run the fucking football, it's not good.
That was one of our main concerns.
You can't fix it. It's not just, they're not just going to roll into the shoe and just rip off 300 yards.
Yeah.
They are right now, and they're going to need an off season to fix it.
And that was our main concern heading into the Big Ten, was this running game really wasn't a threat on offense at all. How is that going to translate once we get into Big Ten football? Colder weather, tougher defensive lines, tougher linebackers, and it really showed against to be honest, a mid to bottom tier Big Ten team.
Bottom tier.
Speaking of bottom tier, their pass rush hadn't done anything all season, but our offensive line gave up 10 total pressures 7 hurries on a basically one-legged quarterback, and 3 sacks allowed. Miranda gave up 1. Rasheed Walker gave up 1. Just really, really bad games for them. And basically the entire offensive line besides Juice Scruggs, who is still not allowed a sack this season, which is just incredible. Incredible stat by Juice.
Good old Juice. Always rely on Juice.
Last thing I'm going to say in this game, I'll talk about Clifford. He was 56% completion for only 165 yards. That means he's averaging 4.9 yards per completion, which is just like against Illinois. You just got to take some deep shots. But when he did on 20+ yard throws, he was 1 for 4 for 36 yards. So just was not accurate down the field. Not accurate even over the middle, which is where his bread and butter is, which was very concerning. And then even the easy throws, screen plays, 5 for 6 for only 8 yards, 1.3 yards per attempt. So they were all over the screen game. Once that wasn't working, he had to start making real quarterback decisions, reading route concepts, reading the defense prior to the snap, and he just wasn't able to get it done. And final thing, obviously, he was under a lot of pressure. In fact, he was under pressure on 23.1 of his dropbacks. And under pressure, he was 2 of 5 for 33 yards.
Yeah.
So
I think with him being hobbled, this offense runs best when he's able to create and use his legs. And he was at a disadvantage with that this past weekend. And again, due to the injury, but still, that definitely impacted it. I think, and I'm going to, for my 1 point on this game, I'm going to flip to the defensive side of the ball. It's hard to knock them for all the possessions that they went through to still, 18 points, 20 points.
The five times that they stopped him from the 3-yard line.
Yeah. The shock was, and you see the images on Twitter of, and obviously watching the game with Illinois with 7, 8 linemen in the game to run the ball, pound it down your throat, and you still give up 250 yards, something like that for the game. And just not having the strategy or the halftime adjustment to stop that was mind-boggling for me. Probably not being able to do that adjustment. And then again, you don't want to pin it to just one play, but I look at that. I think I don't know if it was the end of the 4th or maybe it was in one of the OTs where Brisker who dropped that pick, had it right in his hands. And it's, so I saw in practice today that Pry was out there just slinging fucking footballs at the linebackers and DB, saying you got to be ready to catch that. But it was I don't even want to speak.
All right, I think that's enough talk of that last game. Let's Men in Black, wipe it from our minds. It's over.
Never happened.
Before we get into the big game, it is time for another round of trivia. This time, Dave will be asking the question. Again, this is from Penn State history, 2000-2010. I still have 2 lifelines, I believe.
You do?
I'm going to friend and a hint. Let me text my friend just so he's ready.
Okay. Yeah, just make sure he's on call.
All right, give it to me.
You ready?
Ready to go.
My question is, these 2 5-star recruits were both in the same recruiting class and rank in the top 5, according to 24/7 Sports, as the top 2 of the top 5 highest rated Penn State recruits of all time.
Same recruiting class, you said?
Both rank in the top 5 all time, according to 24/7 Sports, of highest rated recruits to enter the program.
They come in at the same time. Did they come in at the same time? Fuck. I'm going to use my phone, friend.
Oh, let's go.
I'm going to get Jonathan Haber on the line.
Oh, let's go, Haber. We gotta get the who
I hope
wants to be a millionaire countdown
Yeah.
clock up here.
I hope he answers. What's going on here?
Uh-oh.
Call has been forwarded to an automated voice messaging system.
When you needed him most, he's nowhere to be found.
Do I get a double dip on that?
I'll give you a double dip.
All right, let's try. Let's try the third Slim Reaper, Mr. Curran Ruyak.
Oh,
It might be my phone.
Yo.
Yo. Oh, perfect. So we're filming What Out Weekly. I just got a trivia question and I'm using my phone a friend.
All right, what do we got?
So the question is, repeat the question, Dave.
question is, these two 5-star recruits were
These
both
two
in the-
5-star recruits
were both in the same recruiting class
were both in the same recruiting class
and both rank in the top 5 all time
and both
According to
rank in the top
24/7
5
Sports.
all time
as highest rated recruits to enter.
as highest rated recruits. And here's what I was thinking. Hackenberg, I think, is in there.
So they were friends. Is that part of this?
I don't know if they're friends. They're just in the same recruiting class.
They were both in the
They
same
were
class.
in the same class. They were both ranked the highest of all time.
Yeah.
Right, top
Top 5 of 247 Sports recruiting.
What was that last part?
The top 5 and 24/7 sports like recruiting.
I think Reggie Bush could be involved in this.
Dude, they went to Penn State
Oh, they went to Penn State. Sure,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
from 2000 to 2010.
This
Well,
is what I would
Hackenberg.
Right. I think it
Hackenberg
was Hack or Hack and Saquon in the same class.
if they were, then like that seems like a pretty good
I just don't. I think they were in different classes.
same because Saquon we got to enjoy none of, and Hackenberg.
We got to enjoy all of, which sucked. Oh fuck! All right, I think my time limit's out. I'm gonna go Hack. Fuck. Could be an offensive lineman.
That's a deep cut.
Ooh. No. All right, yeah, I'm gonna go Hackenberg and Saquon. Final answer. Yeah, I knew they were in the same fucking class. Ah!
Who was it? What's the answer?
What's the answer?
The answer is Derek Williams and Justin King.
Oh God, Derek Williams.
I was never gonna pull Justin King.
Yeah,
Number
Justin
1 and
King.
number 5 all time.
What was Hackenberg?
That's a good question.
Probably not even top 20
That is like a number 1 QB.
in his class. I don't know about all time.
Yeah, I mean that's fair.
Hackenberg was 7th. They actually have Morelli ahead of Hat, 1 spot ahead of Hat.
Anthony Morelli.
They go
Who's that?
Derek Williams,
He was after Daryl Clark.
Michael Parsons, Justin Shorter, Dan Connor, King, Morelli, Hackenberg.
So our highest quarterback ever recruited was Anthony Morelli.
Yeah.
Nice. There's Penn State football for you.
There we go.
All right. Well, thanks, Kern.
Sorry, I couldn't be more helpful.
No, no worries. No worries. We're in this together.
Of course.
All right. So now it's time to preview the big game at the Horseshoe under the lights against number 5 Ohio State, who's absolutely rolling. 7:30 again on ABC. I hate that this is prime time. Just in case we get our ass kicked, now everyone can see.
Yeah.
Just based off that Illinois game. I forgot to mention this. That Illinois game was sort of a almost recruiting loss game Like you can lose some recruits losing to Illinois like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then if we come in Ohio State and just get rolled, like, I don't know. Maybe I gotta stick to this. Stick to this. Can't think negatively. Positive from here on out.
I'm reading Don't Kill Myself books.
Basically what I've become.
See, you've been getting into a little light reading.
Not mine. I bought that for a friend.
Yeah.
Have you looked at the spread? It's Wednesday right now, so you know the spread.
You know what it is?
Minus 18.5, over under 59.5.
Yeah.
So let's just go over this juggernaut of a Ohio State offense. They put up 44 points in the first half against Indiana last week. So just to give you a little context of what they're working with. Quarterback CJ Stroud, he's now the third favorite for the Heisman at plus 450. Above him is Ole Miss quarterback Matt Corral at plus 300. And the favorite so far is Alabama quarterback Bryce Young at plus 160. And as I was looking at this, I saw a little bit of value. Desmond Ridder plus 3,000.
Oh,
If they make the college football playoff, I feel like he could be in the conversation for that. But
he'll be a finalist.
then again, yeah, it might, yeah. But I put a little scratch on that.
Yeah,
$10
that's good
to win 300. Like, why not?
Yeah, that's good
Little
value.
Ridder. So CJ Stroud, second in the Big Ten in passing yards, first in yards per attempt, first in touchdown to interception ratio, with an absurd 22 touchdowns to 3 interceptions. And those 3 picks came in the first 3 games of the season. So the last 3 games, he's thrown 14 touchdowns to 0 picks against Rutgers, Maryland, Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the scariest stat about Stroud is that he's been sacked only 5 times this season. So young quarterback, the way to get to them is rattling them. He's not getting rattled. Not getting rattled at all.
Yeah, playing behind one of the biggest offensive lines, at least in the Big Ten, if not in the country. So that certainly helps.
Let me go over this offensive line. So left tackle, they got Nicholas Fair, junior, 6'5", 315.
Oof.
No sacks allowed on the season. Right tackle, DeJuan Jones, 6'8", 360. Big fucking boy. He's allowed 2 sacks, 1 QB hit. Left guard, they've gone back and forth, I think maybe because of injury. Thayer Munford, 6'6", 320 pounds. The other left guard, Matthew Jones, 6'4", 310 pounds, 0 sacks on the season. Right guard, Paris Johnson Jr., 6'6", 316 pounds, 0 sacks allowed, but has a team high 8 pressures, which is where I wish we had Mustafa still.
Yeah.
And then a redshirt freshman at center, Luke Weipler, 0 sacks allowed this season and only 2 total pressures. And he's 6'3", 300. So everybody on that line is about 300 pounds. So
yeah, big boys.
Going to be a task to even get pressure on Stroud, let alone stop the running game. And they got this true freshman, Trayvon Henderson, 5'10", 210 pounds, and he just absolutely took over the starting role, I think, in the summer, basically. Over 2, like,
no, start of the year 4th on the depth chart, and
then rose up as they played.
Rose up and took it over.
Yeah, because they had Master Teague, who's an upperclassman, and
a returning starter who played a prominent role last year and has just kind of been thrown by the wayside with Henderson bursting onto the scene.
I mean, he's averaging 8.8 yards per carry and has 11 touchdowns on the season.
11
so. And he's utilizing all phases of the game. Last week against Indiana, he had 10 touches for 95 yards and 3 touchdowns in the first half.
Yeah.
So he might be looking like the next great Ohio State back. It looks like It's sad to say that.
Yeah, if you thought Chase Brown from the Illini looked explosive against us, just wait till you see Travion Henderson. He's a beast.
So who do you think is the leading receiver for Ohio State? What'd you guess?
Well, we got two of the most prolific receivers, not just in the Big Ten, but the country. I'm going to go ahead and say Garrett Wilson.
Correct. Leading receiver. Just from the few Ohio State games that I flipped to, he's just a total athlete. Terrific route runner. Despite being 6 foot, he's one of the best at like tracking the ball downfield and high pointing it, which is a lot of the times I thought it was Olave, but it was Garrett Wilson tracking the ball and making those high point catches. And then next to him, they got obviously Chris Olave, who is leading the Big Ten with 6 touchdowns of 15 plus yards this season. And Olave, in his entire Ohio State career, never dropped a pass in the end zone on 37 targets. Pretty incredible.
Yeah.
And once again, another really, really smart route runner, finds gaps in the zone, game-changing speed. So it's going to be another big task for our secondary, for sure.
Yeah, big task for Porter and for Castro Fields. And like you mentioned with the offensive line, if we can't get the pressure on them, it's going to be even a bigger task for Brisker and Brown to be able to help out. Because just with the talent that's there, love our corners, love our secondary, but they're not going to be able to keep up with them for that amount of time. That's just a tall order to ask of any secondary.
Yeah, and they play a lot of 3 wide. So in the slot, they had this sophomore Jackson Smith and Jigba, who has 18 catches of 15 plus yards from the slot, which leads all Power 5 players. So they got 3 stud receivers out there and a stud running back.
Yeah, some thinking Jigba could end up being better than Wilson and Olave by the time he's done. So
yeah,
and then not to mention on the back burner, they got Marvin Harrison Jr. coming up the pipe. But
we got Donald Driver Jr. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah,
don't worry about it.
That's next year's problem.
What do you got on the defense for me? Because I know that's another formidable unit that's kind of gotten itself together over the past couple of weeks since losing to Oregon.
Yeah, so going in that Oregon game, still it's Ohio State. It's a talented defense, but not really that proven guy. There's no Joey or Nick Bosa on the D line. Even throwing it back further, there's no James Laurinaitis out there. But still a proven and talented group. So one of their another key true freshman contributor. I know Pro Football Focus has some stats on him, but Denzel Burke, 1 pick, only 12 catches allowed on I think about 176 targets. So very effective right out the gate. Leading
absolutely
tackler,
lockdown.
Yeah, leading tackler is coming from the safety position, Ronnie Hickman, sophomore. He's got 2 picks himself and a touchdown. Solid linebacking core, and then also solid play out of the D tackle spot. Haskell Garrett and Tyleek Williams, both with 4 sacks on the year. So with our O-line where we're seeing some issues, going to be another tall task.
Don't like to hear that they have a good interior pass rush, because that's where we're the weakest, to be honest. Or that's what last week. I mean, people were just blown by Miranda left and right.
Yeah, and word out of practice this week and then from Franklin today is that they expect Clifford. I think Clifford even said himself he expects to be as close to 100% as he's been this weekend, and we're sure as hell going to need it because he's going to need to be able to extend some plays, create some plays with his legs because they'll be back in that backfield sooner than quicker than you blink with the weight with the rate that they've been able to apply pressure. So another tall task for that offensive line. And I don't know if this is the game where you get the running game going. So Clifford's going to have to be a magician back there.
Yeah. And looking at betting this game, I mean, I'm definitely not, just because I can't get my heart broken and my wallet taken from me. So, but if Penn State were going to win or stand a chance in this game, you would have to take the plus 18.5 and then the under. Right?
Yeah. I don't know that.
Maybe if you take the over, if you're taking plus 18.5, you would have to take the over. Hope it's a shootout. But not betting that game. But we will be betting on a few other Big Ten games as week 9.
Week 9, baby.
Week 9 of the Big Ten Betting Bonanza will come up to you right after this. No commercial, just coming up next. Welcome to week 9 of the Big Ten Betting Bonanza. And boy, are things starting to heat up. The spectacle is now tied 14 apiece, as I'll give you the rundown of last week's picks. Dave, the conflicted game was the Wisconsin-Purdue game. Dave took the money line, missed. I took Wisconsin, hit +1. Dave went with the over in Michigan Northwestern, thinking that Michigan would just absolutely roll them. That went under. I went with Minnesota -5 and took care of business against Maryland. And then Dave hit on Ohio State -21, which was over by the first half, which was impressive bet. And then I lost my last game, Northwestern +23.5. Thought it was going to be a look ahead game. Was not. They lost. I think they didn't cover by 6.
I think it was 33-7. Lost by 26.
Yeah. So close. Very close. Field goal here or there. You never know. So 2 points for me this week. 1 point for Dave means it's 14-14 heading into week 9. And Dave, I'll let you go first.
All right. I'm going to kick off with the big battle in the state of Michigan. So we got Michigan State battle. I'm taking the over 50.5.
That was the number the exact same number you took last week.
Going back to the well, Lucci.
And you're doing the over.
Doing the over.
Oh boy. Fool me once. Shame on you. Fool me twice. Shame on
you. Shame on me.
Michigan is over 50.5. So I'm looking at that same game. This for me, filming Wednesday, just so everyone knows, this line right now is at +4 for Michigan State, and they're at home. I think that this is going to come down to be one of those just classic games where it comes down to whoever has the ball last. Mm-hmm. I really want to take the points to ensure, just in case it's like a Michigan field goal, but I feel like Michigan just always just has bad luck every year. So I'm going to roll the dice and go Michigan State money line here.
Ooh, Sparty up.
Yep, baby. Yeah, that was originally +4. Then I last minute changed to the money line.
Okay.
Because they're having too good of a season. Something is bound to happen where their season goes off the rails. Happens every year with Harbaugh.
Yeah, it feels too good to be true for Harbaugh. Something's got to go wrong.
Your second pick, Dave.
Second pick. I am going to Lincoln. We got the Boilermakers taking on the Huskers.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to boiler up again.
Oh, baby.
Boilermakers +7.5. Give it to me.
You're taking my squat from me.
Taking them.
You're taking the points or money line?
I'm taking the points this time.
+7.5.
+7.5.
So, I mean, maybe you haven't the past couple of weeks, but you've been on Nebraska kind of this season.
I have.
What's with the flip?
I think Nebraska still wins this game. I just think it's closer than a touchdown.
Yeah.
That's kind of my train of thought here.
A 3-5 team. Yeah. Yeah, that is a 3-5 team versus a 4-3 -7.5. It's a little sus. For my second pick, I'm going to stick with the theme of riding the horses until they fail you. I'm going with the Golden Gophers again, -7.5 at Northwestern. They're going to cover. I think they've won like five of their last 6 games.
Yeah, row the boat. Flex got him rowing that boat.
So I'm going to take them against a pretty pathetic Northwestern defense. I think they're going to run the ball all over them. Go for another win, hopefully cover. Hopefully that hook doesn't get me. But yeah, I'm taking Minnesota -7.5.
Okay.
And for your final pick.
Final pick. I'm going to do it, Lucci. I'm taking us to the shoe. Taking the under 59.5.
Okay. All righty.
I'm taking a stand here. I think this defense is too good to get blown out and just give up. So don't know that we cover the 18.5. Don't feel real good about it, but I think the defense keeps the points to a minimum.
Let's hope so. Because that's honestly our best way to win.
Yeah.
I kind of like that bet too. I'm not gonna lie.
I don't see this. I could see it getting ugly, but I don't see 55-7 funeral. I see more of a 31-13 or 14 if it gets ugly.
Oh yeah, I'm really conflicted on this game. I mean, on paper, it's obviously Ohio State's going to destroy us, but there's just always those games where after you lose against like Illinois, where the team just rallies and you never know what could happen. So might lose, but it might be closer than a lot of people expect. So for my last pick, I wrote down Iowa money line at Wisconsin and then immediately crossed it off. Immediately. And right under Iowa was good old Rutgers.
Oh,
-1.5.
Going back to the well.
Playing Illinois. Look what happened to Iowa a lot when they beat Penn State. Smoked the next week. Illinois beats Penn State. Rutgers going to smoke them this week. 2-0 on that theory, hopefully, after this week. But yeah, I think Rutgers is going to absolutely destroy Illinois on their high horse. Rutgers just kind of, trying to keep that program still on like a winning path. So I think they're going to be the hungry dog in this game. Illinois is full. They're fat. Hungry dogs run faster. Let's go Scarlet Knights.
Let's go Knights, baby. You beat the Nets, you go down the next week. That's how it goes.
Yep. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching and tuning in to Whiteout Weekly. We will be back every week with more Penn State news and information. And once again, I cannot thank you enough for spending your time with us. Lucci signing out.
See you guys.